What's going on YouTube? Tony here, back with another video, and today I want to kick off 2022 on my channel with a look back at my favorite purchases from last year. Stay tuned. Thank you for joining in to another video. Thank you for sticking with me. I know last year I didn't put out a ton of content. Caught COVID, lost my sense of smell, and it took a while to get back in the saddle now, ready to kick out some reviews for you guys. If this is your first time finding my channel, welcome. I talk about some of the best fragrances on the market for men and women, and I do so in 10 post points or less. I'm really excited about this list, so let's just dive right in. So in the 10th spot, I have a fragrance from Lacoste. Don't say that too often. This one is called L'Homme Lacoste. Now, L'Homme Lacoste is a very easy to wear, versatile scent. If you want one scent in your collection as a go-to, you're not one of those, you're not a collector, you don't have a ton of fragrances, a need for a ton of fragrances, and you just want a couple, I think this is a good versatile scent for you. It's pretty inexpensive, very versatile, crowd pleasing, very what I would consider a now fragrance. It's very on trend, if you will, if you consider some of the things that you find at the mall right now. It's not very dark, not very light. It's kind of middle of the road on both of those, so it makes it versatile. It's a sweet, woody scent. Not super unique, but a solid, well-made scent. You won't get a whole lot of synthetic or harsh notes when you spray this. It's kind of smooth, good blend especially at this price point. It features notes of rhubarb, ginger, and amber. Again, just an easy to wear, inexpensive, good smelling scent from Lacoste L'Homme. Now in the number 9 spot, it's a fragrance for the ladies. This one's from the house of Blanc number 9, and it's called Scent of Peace for Her. Now this fragrance is marketed, of course, exclusively for women. I know some of you guys don't really believe in gender and fragrance. To me, this smells like a woman should smell. This is a sexy scent. It is warm weather friendly. It is classified as a fruity floral. I say it's more about the floral and the musk on my wife's skin. Specifically, the floral that's in this is Lily of the Valley. This is daytime professional kind of feel to it, although I think you can pull it off casual as well. Again, I'll say it again, it smells like a woman should smell. Really makes me want to get close and get more of that aroma. Just a really good smelling fragrance. Again, maybe springtime, maybe even summer. Just a really solid, good smelling scent for women, and pretty high on my like list. Really happy I purchased this for the missus last year. Scent of Peace for Her. Coming in at the number 8 spot is my first purchase from this house. It's from the house of Mancera, and this is Cedrat Boise. Now this is a dry, transparent, a light citrus at the top, but there's a dryness to this that's in the mid that lasts, and makes it very distinct. I remember smelling this on someone out, and I knew immediately what it was. There's a very distinct, I think it's a mixture of maybe jasmine that's in this. Starts out with of course some really light citruses in the mid, that on my skin, that jasmine and I think a patchouli mix really kind of comes through and gives it the personality of this fragrance, and just a hint of sweetness, not overly sweet at all. And just to address the elephant in the room, this is touted as a Ventus alternative or a Ventus clone. This doesn't smell like a Ventus off my skin. I can see, some of the similarities smelling it off top, but if I were to smell a Ventus on someone out, versus this, like I can immediately tell the difference. So not redundant. If you're thinking about this, one way or the other, if you stand away from it because it's a vintage cologne, or you're interested in it because it smells like a vintage, I would say get your nose on it before you make a decision, because to me, they're just two different fragrances. Cedrat Boise from Mancera. Number 7 on the list, from the house of Dolce & Gabbana, their upper end line, and it's called Velvet Incenso. As you can tell by the name, this scent is about incense, but I think it's also a little bit about the resinous amber that's in here. Dark, sweet, fairly close to the skin, a good date night slash get close scent for me. This is one of the ones that is a personal like to me. This is, to me, not a mainstream type of construction. I don't know if a lot of people would like this. This is kind of a mature scent, a mature gentleman. It's manly, but more of a mature gentleman, I would say. Turtleneck and blazer is what this scent says to me. Again, personal option. I wear it because I like it, especially when it gets into that the dry down. It won't push out a lot, and date night friendly construction that smells good. Velvet Incenso. I'm gonna go back to the house of Mancera, and this is my first 2 purchases from the brand, and I'm really liking these 2 purchases, and this one's Instant Crush. Now this is definitely a unisex scent. Both men and women can wear this one. This one's kind of a sweet, soft, powdery scent. One thing that comes across to me, there's something that I would describe, a nuance to this, a facet to this that's stinging to my nose, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just a character of the fragrance, and I'm not sure. It's a slightly chemical type smell, and it's something that I noticed in a lot of the sister brand of Mont. They're in these cans, and I think I've always had the notion that it had kind of a chemical smell to it because it was in the can, but I'm also picking it up in this, and this is, you know, just a regular glass bottle. And maybe it's just a nuance of their brand, kind of a scent profile of their brand, and it's kind of present here too. And I don't say that, you know, as a negative or a deterrent. It still smells good. It's just a characteristic of the fragrance. Again, it's soft, it's sweet. People compare this to Baccarat Rouge 540. I don't have that in my collection. I know I've smelled it before, but I can't really speak to whether it's, you know, how close it is or anything like that to that. Just really happy that I have this one. Me and the wife are going to probably fight over this one. I could imagine. Good smelling scent from Mancera. It's called Instant Crush. Number 5 on the list is one that I was a blind buy for me. One of my buddies hit me up on Facebook and said, "Hey, have you tried Bad Boy?" And my my first thought was the record label Bad Boy, like another Sean John scent. Did some research and saw that Quentin Biche was the perfumer on this, and just bought it immediately. I coincidentally have a bunch of his creations that I didn't even know that he was a perfumer on, but some fragrances that are really high on my list. Amber Imperial, for example, L'Essence Le Male, Ultra Zest from Mugler, Grain de Poudre, which is one of my recent pickups that I really like. Just a solid lineup that's under his resume. A bunch of fragrances that I want to try, so I picked this one up, and this one I would imagine is the new clubbing fragrance on the block. I don't frequent clubs, but I would imagine this is pretty popular in the club these days. It's 2 types of pepper in this. There's some tonka bean, adding some sweetness, and a dryness, dry element from cocoa. I don't think Ambroxan is in the note breakdown, but it kind of gives me a similar scent profile. This is a lot darker than Dior Sauvage, but there's an element of that when it's in the air. So I don't know if Ambroxan is in this. It's not listed in any of the note breakdowns that I've seen, but it kind of has that vibe in it. Again, it's a beast mode performing fragrance, dark, sweet, peppery, and performances, from what I can tell, has been amazing on this one. Last, projects, all that good stuff. Again, clubbers rejoice. And this is Bad Boy from Carolina Herrera. Now, these next couple of ones were really hard to quote unquote rank. And this one is absolutely, I love this one. I actually bought this for the wife, but I'm gonna steal this and wear this as well. And this one's called New York Nights. And this is a sweet oriental fragrance. It's sultry and unisex oriental, not necessarily on the darker side of oriental. This is kind of on the lighter side, well, or in between. I wouldn't necessarily wear this in hot weather, but it doesn't come across as dense as you would think of being an oriental fragrance. There is some feminine facets here, but still pretty neutral in the air, especially off my skin. What I love about this is the note of caramel, which is prevalent in this and providing that sweetness. And there's a smooth sandalwood kind of in the background here. Just can't get enough of this. Like, sandalwood is one of my favorite notes in fragrance. I have sandalwood essential oil. Really like this. There's a tinge of uniqueness in this provided by a coffee note. Really like loving this one. And this one's probably one of my favorites from Bond No. 9 that I've smelled that's in her collection. She has quite a bit from Bond No. 9. And this is New York Nights. Now, coming in at number 3 on this list is probably the most mainstream fragrance on this list, and one that's there's no getting around it, a clone of Aventus, but I really like it, and it's Mont Blanc's Explorer. Now, I've typically stayed away from clones. I've bought a couple really by accident, really, just because they were blind buys, and I was always disappointed because those fragrances didn't really hold a candle. Specifically London from English Laundry. I had Unpredictable Adventure. Neither of those fragrances are comparable in smell or quality as Aventus. This is the first purchase that I picked up. Again, a blind buy for me, as Mont Blanc is one of those brands I think is underrated, so I actually buy their fragrance quite a bit. This one is very close to Aventus. Are they, 100%, exact? No, they're not. But this is probably the closest that I've particularly smelled. And again, I don't really seek out those clones, so there may be other fragrances that are closer to Aventus than this one. This one's pretty dang on close, though. I mean, it's a winning DNA right now, and you can get this for a fraction of the cost. I still own Aventus, still love Aventus. They do perform slightly different. I actually wear this more often now because it's cheaper. So if you are looking for a cheaper alternative, you're curious of what Aventus is, get your nose on this, get you a sample, get this on a third-party discounter if you can, for a fraction of the cost of Aventus. I think it's worth, when you talk about bang for your buck, this one's high on that value list. Coming in number 3, very, very pleased with this purchase, Explorer from Mont Blanc. Now, coming in at number 2 is not necessarily, well, I guess classified as a blind buy, but I didn't intend to buy this. I went and was looking for a different one from the brand and smelled this and was just blown away. And this one was called Uden Overdose. Now, I like Uden. This takes everything about the original Uden and just amps it up for me. If you've never smelled a Xerjoff fragrance, they're known for their citruses, and this one does not disappoint. There's a very bright, regal, uplifting bergamot in this. It just exudes luxury and opulence. I know there's probably some criticism, at least on the original Uden, that it was very designer-like. It smelled like a high-priced designer, specifically Allure Homme from Chanel. If you get your nose on this, you're not going to mistake this for a designer run-of-the-mill scent. This is top-notch fragrance making here. Quality. It lasts. It projects. It gets compliments. Just a beautiful, uplifting scent that's similar to Allure Homme for Chanel Allure Homme, but superior in my opinion. and that's Xerjoff Uden. Coming in at number 1 from my favorite fragrance house, I think overall, and that's Dior, and this one's called Spice Blend. Now this to me is sexiness in a bottle. This is one of the fragrances that I picked up on my yearly trip to Vegas, and this is one I had on a card, kind of walked around Vegas with it, smelling it, and I just kept coming back to this. Was the best fragrance that I smelled on that trip, and so of course I bought it. Spicy, semi-dark, not overly dark, not overly spicy either, even though it's packed with spices. It doesn't really give that spicy tinge to your nose to me. Just well blended. A couple types of pepper in this, some nutmeg, some cinnamon, some coriander, so it's quite a bit of spice in there, and a layer of booziness on this as well. Just to me, this is my personality in a bottle. Just absolutely love this one. This is my favorite purchase of last year. It's called Spice Blend from Dior. Well, that wraps up my favorite purchases from last year. If you've smelled any of these, you have these in your collections, tell me what you think about them down in the comments, and I will see you guys in the next vid. Peace. Top notch.